So welcome to the patch notes. This is where we have a brief look at what to expect in the new upcoming update for Unreal Tournament. And in this October release, we're bringing back all the Halloween assets from last season, so if you didn't manage to grab all those lovely cosmetics last time, you'll have another world to try and unlock them all on the offline challenges or collecting the pumpkins on CTF Spooky Face. Once your game is fully updated to the new version, your game will automatically run the tutorial section if your account is under 300 experience points. This was implemented to help new players familiarise themselves with the game before jumping in their first online battles, as often new players would leap straight into the action before learning the basic fundamentals. The netcode has had a series of changes in the upcoming update that reduces issues with high packet loss, which should help with how movement and firing feels under packet loss conditions. The only movement change to this update is the reduced hop before the slide, so when you're transitioning from the standing position to the sliding one, it's a lot more fluid and less cumbersome. The armor system has had some slight tweaks, removing the helmet entirely and its ability to block a headshot and just replacing it with a small 25 armor instead. This update has seen quite a few radical weapon changes, as well as adding a new weapon to the UT arsenal. The grenade launcher replaces the bio launcher prototype and is very much still a work in progress. Its primary fire is what you'd expect from any grenade launcher. It fires a projectile that explodes on direct contact with the enemy, and if it doesn't connect with anything, it eventually explodes by itself. The secondary fire mode can launch up to 5 sticky grenades that can stick to any surface. These nades can also be remotely detonated, making them brilliant for ambush attacks and holding off defensive choke points. And also, you can nade jump with them. The more grenades that you stack up, the higher you'll go. Now, just a quick clarification, the bio launcher has been removed, but not the bio rifle. That still exists in the Unreal Tournament universe and it is still a playable weapon. The Translocator has had improvements on telefragging. It's now easier and more consistent to pull off, especially when the enemy walks over a disc. The impact hammer has now been removed from free for all and flag run due to confusing new players on its functionality. We love the movement it offers, but only 1% of the player base take advantage of it, and it's clear it's not intuitive enough and needs a rethink. Moving on to the Enforcer, and it's had a major cosmetic overhaul, giving a new, more powerful looking design. Also, there's been some balance changes as well on the weapon, giving a quicker reload time on the burst fire mode from 1.3 seconds down to 1 second, and also the starting ammo has been upped from 20 bullets to 40. The shock rifle has had a small nerf, doing less knockback when hitting your opponents on its primary fire. The Link Gun primary now fires 10% faster, but has had its damage reduced from 22 per hit to 20. Its overheating function has been tweaked. Rather than slowing the rate of fire down gradually, it stops firing altogether once it's overheated, but it will quickly recharge and be back up to full speed within 0.5 seconds. The heat indicator has been reworked to give much clearer feedback to when your weapon is overheating. Max ammo has now been reduced from 130 to 120, and chaining link guns together with your teammates has now been disabled, due to frustrations with accidental links when tracking enemy targets and the lack of use from the majority of the player base. The minigun's primary fire has had its damage reduced from 14 to 12 and now has a tighter spread. The secondary fire mode has had another redesign. It fires a projectile that explodes on close proximity to your enemy. This small AoE effect does 12 damage per hit and is intended for long range suppression. The Flak Cannon's secondary fire has an increased initial velocity and increased gravity scaling. This will give a slightly shallower firing arc on the flak shell. The flak shell radius has also been upped slightly from 300 to 330, giving a larger explosion. And the last change on the Flak Cannon is that the momentum on the flak shards have been increased by 20%. The rocket launcher has now disabled the grenade mode, since the grenade launcher now covers that role. Also, the grace period on stacking rockets has been reduced from 0.75 seconds to 0.6, meaning that once your last rocket is loaded up, you'll have less time to manually release the rockets on your terms. There are a shed load more changes that you can check out on the full patch notes on our blog, or you can check in the YouTube description below to find out all the details on that. And anyways guys, thanks for watching, good luck, have fun out there in the tournament.